So the Technology Innovation Institute, as Daniel said, we're a global R&D hub. We're based out of Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates. We focus on applied research. Our main focus is 10 research areas that are high-tech research areas. One of them is AI, which I will take some time today to explain the foundational work we are doing there. And I do believe a lot of you have heard of the Falcon Large Language Model series. We have our research teams that are based in Abu Dhabi. We have around 1,300 researchers already. We're 4.5 years old, and we're growing. We're also very proud about all of the achievements we have, and we do have a very solid partnership model, which I will explain as well, and how we partner with the different universities locally and globally, and with the different research institutes. We focus, as I mentioned, on 10 research areas. AI is one of them. We have a center on advanced materials. This is where we look into nanomaterials, into cooling materials, into coatings, into other intelligent materials as well. We have an autonomous robotics research center. This is basically the area where we work on the development of the brain of the robots, whether we're talking about the air, the land, the sea, whether we're talking about single robots or a swarm of robots. And as you can imagine, AI is very essential there. We have a center that is working on biotech. This is where we address biotechnologies in its different forms, whether it is bioproduction, multi-omics, genomics, and other types of research there. We have a center on cryptography. Traditionally, it is my area of research, and this is where we work on different cryptographic libraries, whether from a classic sense or the post-quantum sense, and we're sort of following the trend that is happening. NIST, in fact, yesterday launched standards for post-quantum crypto, and this is one of the major areas we're investing in. We have a team that's working on directed energy. As the name implies, this is where we work on laser technologies, on technologies related to radars, to sonars, and the likes. A team that's working on propulsion in space, and the UAE traditionally is a leading country when it comes to space technologies, with the Mars missions, with the Moon mission now. A team that's working on quantum, tackling quantum from its different aspects, from the computing aspect, communication aspect, and the sensing aspect. A team that's working on green energies and sustainable energies, and a topic that is very relevant to our part of the world, which is water technologies. And finally, we have a team that's working on secure systems, looking into operating systems, into autonomous platforms, etc., and developing technologies to address their, to develop zero trust architectures and secure solutions. Some of the examples of the achievements we have, and these are very well-known achievements that we have published about, and many of them we have made open source. We have the Falcon series, which we are very proud of, and I will take some time to discuss Falcon later on. We have a lot of achievements that we have done in the robotics space, on the aperture radars and synthetic aperture radars, ground penetrating radars, and these are technologies that we have developed in order to improve detection and mapping capabilities across sectors. So whether we're talking about agriculture capabilities, about mapping, about imaging, etc. And then another achievement that we have done, and we have done a very big contribution also to the National Institute of Standard and Technologies, is in the field of post-quantum crypto, where we have released and submitted multiple candidates that have to do with PQC. Now, we're talking about AI today, and I would say AI is being harnessed and used across each one of the areas that I have mentioned before. To give you an example, you can imagine how AI can be beneficial in biotechnologies. And it's not only about medical imaging. We're also looking into using LLM for synthetic biotech. LLMs and AI is being used today for drug development, for personalized cancer treatments and T-cells, for diagnostic and disease prediction as well. AI is one of the main technology that comes to mind, and it's actually been put in practice when it comes to autonomous systems. If you think about a robot, an AI robot, a humanoid, a drone, a marine autonomous vessel, AI basically means I'm developing the brain. I'm using it to develop the brain of the robot, the eyes of the robot, and other senses of the robot. And I'm also using AI in order to be able to control the robot and making it do decisions. So there we use AI for perception, for computer vision, for all the decision making that needs to happen, for tracking, for the control systems, robot manipulation, and others. AI is being used in propulsion and space. So this is where we have research that's going on for developing digital twins for jet engines and jet engines performance and ECUs. We use AI for optimized control for propulsion systems. And also we are working on a lunar system with the space agency in the UAE. And we are working on AI-driven computer vision for that. Now, we're even using AI in non-traditional fields. Determinism and AI is not always used hand in hand. However, we're using it in more deterministic fields like quantum and crypto. For example, in crypto, we use AI for cryptanalysis in order to try to model a cryptographic algorithm as accurately as possible, in order to try to see what are the cryptographic properties and the security strength of a specific algorithm. And this is something that we have published and made available in its base form. It's called CLASP. You can find it at clasp.tii.ae. And it is a tool that's based on AI that allows for cryptanalysis. We're also investing in research on privacy-preserving machine learning in order to look into the security and the privacy aspects of large language models and other machine learning models. In addition to that, and the last point before I jump into the foundational model we're developing, is we're looking at AI as a reasoning framework. And in particular, when it comes to cyber systems, we are looking into how can we use AI with an appropriate representation of binaries, appropriate representation of executables, and an entire reasoning framework in order to look into how can I detect vulnerabilities in a black box or in a white box, and how can I tackle the problem of 0 days and also have self-healing properties of a program and incident response. And this is what we call the reasoning framework for cybersecurity and vulnerability management. The partnerships we do are across the world. So you can see here that we have 170 plus partnerships that have been signed with universities across 37 countries. A lot of those names are familiar to you. We work with Caltech in particular in the areas of autonomous robotic systems, space, and AI. We work with Yale University on topics that are related to crypto and hardware-based cryptography. And you see a few names here out of those 100 plus universities across the globe that we're collaborating with. So we have our own network of researchers, and we do work globally, having believed in the power of global research collaborations. Now, moving into the AI unit, and Professor Hakim, I think, is in the audience here. He's the brain, him and his team, behind all the great work that has been published and that we are surely very proud of. So the AI unit is a local unit that we have in the UAE that has made a global great impact. And this is the team that's worked on the Falcon series. It's working on the development of foundational models. This is one of their main focus. Another focus of theirs is to make those models applicable and deployable on the different types of end devices. So whether we're talking about deployment on the cloud, deployment on premise, looking into those models and quantizing them to be able to run on the edge, etc. This is the team that's also working on the more traditional machine learning models, that is working on supervised and unsupervised learning, that is also working on the development of reasoning platforms. And this is surely the team that is behind all the open source promotions and the use case applications that we are working on through Falcons and the other work that are doing in the center. So Falcon, for those who don't know, Falcon is the national bird of the UAE. And we chose this name of a strong bird and a strong figure to be the name of the large language model series that we have published. and that we have been carrying through since last year in 2023. To give you an overview of the timeline of the different models that have been launched by the centers, we have started in 2022 with Noor. Noor is an Arabic-based large language models, and to date, the training data that is being associated with Noor is the training data that by far is the highest quality when it comes to cross-domain Arabic language. The data has been pulled from various sources, and today it stands as the highest quality data in Arabic language. After Noor in 2023, we have launched the first large language model, which is Falcon 40B. Falcon 40B was trained on 1 trillion tokens and 40 billion parameters. It has been published on Hugging Face, and for the longest time, it has been actually top on the leaderboard on Hugging Face, and it has had a very big acceptance and contribution from the open source community, from the research community, and also from the institutional community. After Falcon 40B, there was a release of Falcon 180B, was built on the success of 40B. Falcon 180B was trained on 3.5 trillion tokens, 180 billion parameters. Also, it has been made available in the open source. And Falcon was the base on many tools that have been developed that are related to more complex tasks like code generation, chatbots, and other applications that we have seen being contributed in the open source. And we know that they have been used in commercial and research applications. Earlier this year, Falcon 211B was released. This is a more efficient and more accessible model that was also released in the open source. Falcon 11B basically was trained on 11 billion parameters and 5.5 tokens, and this was the base of the first multimodal model that TII has launched also back in February, which is a vision language model also made available to the cloud. And we're very proud to say that a few days ago, we have launched Falcon Mamba 7B. And this is the first space state model, language model that was released in the open source. This is our first SSLM. And for those for a background, this is an architecture that is different from the transformer-based architecture in the previous Falcon series, and most of the large language models that you see that are being published and are being used on the market today. And the main difference is how SSLMs, they treat data sequencing and sequence modeling. So they are more efficient when it comes to memory utilization, and they're more efficient in the way they treat temporal data, and by temporal, I mean the time series and more complex sequences. So we're talking about time series, we're talking about forecasting, we're talking about genomics, sequencing, etc. So the main philosophy behind those models is they are all open source, and we are very big believers of open source, and we took open source to the level that these are royalty-free models that are available for commercial use and for research use. And the reason behind this open source, one of the main reasons behind this open source is, one, we wanted to democratize AI. So we wanted an open access to everybody for large language models. Second is we do believe that by making models open source, we increase trust, we increase transparency, and also we start contributing to more and more of the ethical consideration of the models. Open sourcing the models allows you with localization, and what data shows is that localization actually enables us to reduce bias and to start contributing towards more safe AI and more safe AI usage. On top of the Falcon models that were released, and given the success that these models have done, we have launched in February in the World Government Summit in Dubai, the Falcon Foundation. This is a nonprofit foundation, and it has the main purpose of why Falcon in the first place was made open source. This is to make AI accessible to the crowd, is to make AI basically used by different entities, by different countries, in order to serve specific use cases, and we're using Falcons as the base of those specific use cases. And ATRC and TII have pledged $300 million as a start, and we're very happy and proud to see that specific countries in South America, in Europe, in Asia have started to adopt Falcon in their government applications and also other commercial applications. And this is something Falcon Foundation has a dedicated AI website that you can go and you can see what are the different initiatives we have through the foundation. Now, as we move towards the development of Falcon, as we move towards making Falcon open source, and as we realize the importance of AI and how it can make the human life better, how it can contribute to different commercial applications, how it can improve efficiencies, how it can optimize tasks, how it can actually be used across various sectors, there are two things that we're aware of. One is that there are important ethical considerations to AI, and this is where we have various research that is happening by a large team internally on how can we improve the trustworthiness of systems, how can we improve the transparency and the explainability of AI. After all, we're aware that for an AI system to be deployed and to be used in critical and real-time operations, we need to be able to prove the explainability. We need to be able to prove the trustworthiness of this model and how to actually reduce the bias. And we were one of the first institutions to pledge back in May to our efforts and our resources in order to make AI more safe, in order to contribute to all the AI safety communities and work on this research in an active manner. The second point which we're advocating, and this is where we are advocating for strong governance structures, for actually having ethical review boards and compliance teams to review those models, to review the various standards that are becoming more and more prominent for the AI usage, is that how can we assign accountability? So for us to be able to use the AI system, we should be able to say, okay, through this structure, this is where the accountability lies. It lies within the OEM, it lies within the developer of the model, or it lies within the user of the model. And then finally, we have very active research that has to do with privacy and security of large language models. This is where we're looking into the development of privacy-preserving technologies, privacy-preserving machine learning. We're looking into private federated learning also to be able to train the models with the biggest amount of data without actually revealing the data and breaking the privacy. So this is where we look into development and the usage of technologies like multi-party computation, homomorphic systems, and homomorphic protocols. And of course, we cannot forget the power of the traditional cyber technologies like authentication, multi-factor authentication, Stegano, etc., in preserving data privacy when it comes to large language models. The final point I would like to make, because I think we're close to the finish line, is that we are also working into the development of use cases on top of these LLMs. We have one of the companies that's working with us that is working with Falcon in order to provide enterprise-level tools for using large language models in the education sector, in the legal sector, and also in the marketplace. And this is AI71 company. So to close, AI has a major power in how it can make the society better and how it can make a big contribution to various use cases in order to make our life better. However, we need to work on it in a responsible manner, and we're a very big advocate to community contribution and community development when it comes to AI. I would like to thank you all for the opportunity you gave me to present to you the work we are doing on Falcon and AI, and I look forward to engaging with you more in the rest of the day. Thank you very much.